ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. We are in the middle of a discussion of karma. Karma prakarana. Karma prakarana means the portion dealing with karma. So the Satasloki has spanned a lot of ground, Vedantic ground, in dealing with many and varied types of uh, topics connected to Vedanta. And then it is now branching out to talk about karma, because there is a lot of confusion. For the person who is a karmatha means one who is just doing daily things and leading their life and not really thinking about anything spiritual, not really looking to evolve emotionally, spiritually, no growth, nothing, there's no maturity, they're not interested in it. Because they're just, it's not that they're not interested in that, but they are so consumed by the present, by living, in the day to day, that the mind doesn't have the space to go there. So, for such people, karma is a no-brainer. You just get up, you go to work, you come back, you take care of your family, whatever it is you're doing, you keep doing. That's all it is. So, karma, they don't really obsess about karma, about anything. They don't really need to, because that's not their focus, that's not where they are. Karma becomes a very intriguing thing for the person who is on the path of spiritual progress, Vedanta, emotional maturity, inner growth, etc. Because the goal is very clear. What is the goal? You are not the doer. Oh, okay. Then how do I get to that from here, mired as we are, as one is in the doing? And then one exposes oneself to the knowledge, one studies diligently with the teacher, but then one is still left high and dry without knowing how to connect, or for that matter, balance the everyday. The everyday realm of doing and reaping the results of action, so to speak. And then the Vedanta philosophy, the body of knowledge, which is Vedanta, which tells you that you are neither the doer nor are you done in by other people's doing. You are simply a person that is just the witness, and even that witness resolves into that Paramatma that you are, into that Ishvara. So this is somehow, there is some disconnect, there is some inability to balance, there is some, what's the word for it? There is some inner strife, if you will, or there is some confusion. These kinds of things persist. And so these verses are specially for balancing karma, or whatever one has to do, with the commitment to spiritual growth side by side, how to manage that and how to get away from the regular traps. What are the regular traps? Thinking oneself to be the producer of the results of action, thinking oneself to be the agent, thinking oneself to be done in by other people's omissions and commissions, constantly hurt, thinking oneself to be guilty all the time, meaning can't live with one's own omissions and commissions. And so, this is how the section on karma hopes to clarify some of these things. So, with this introduction, let us look at the verse at hand right now that we are looking at, which I think is 84. Yes, very intriguing verse. वृक्षच्छेदे कुठारः प्रभवति यदपि प्राणिनोऽभ्यस्तथापि प्रायोन्नं तृप्तिहेतुस्तदपि निगदति कारणं भोक्तृयत्नम्. प्राचीनं कर्म तद्वद् विषमसमफल प्राप्तिहेतुस्तथापि स्वातन्त्र्यं नश्वरेऽस्मिन् हि खलु घटते प्रेरकोऽस्यन्तरात्मा. This verse and the next drive you or drive the person or direct one straight away to Ishvara after bypassing the karma and karma phala. Karma, action, and karma phala, the result of action, both of them are a trap and they are an incessant loop, which is the samsara chakra, which is the wheel of samsara, keeps going round and round and keeps you inside trapped because of this addiction to action and its results. And so here, a very important but very obvious but extremely important thing is pointed out about the state of action and their result, because this is something that gets overlooked even though it's quite obvious. And so, what is it that gets overlooked? This is presented through many examples. So, 2, 3 examples are given. We have seen that. So, what is the objective here? The object is to see that even though it looks obvious, that I am the one doing the action and I am the one reaping its results. That is not the case. Why? Because there is Bhagavan, there is Ishvara. Ishvara is the Karta, a silent Karta, a non-Karta Karta, not really a Karta, but an as though Karta. And then here you are, everyone is, here we all are thinking that we are the producer of actions and we are the enjoyers of the results of action. So, two examples are given. Vrikshashchede, in the felling of a tree. Kutharah prabhavati. Kutharah means the woodcutter. Kutharah means woodcutter. So no, Kutharah here means axe. It also means woodcutter, but here it means axe. Kutharah prabhavati. So even though the axe is the agent of felling the tree, यदपि प्राणिनोद्यः प्राणिनोद्यः still the axe is not equipped with some magical powers. Perhaps in the movies you can see an axe flying by itself and then cutting the tree. That's kind of nice, Harry Potter and the other Indian equivalents of these magical movies, Bollywood equivalents. They're supposed to be scary, but they end up being hilarious. And so this is, so you can imagine a movie where some axe, shining metal, the metal shining in the sun is because of some FX. FX means special effects. Is made to cut the tree, but that's not how it is in the everyday life. In the everyday life, the axe is wielded by a prani. Prani here doesn't mean animal, a living, breathing being. So a person who is wielding, so behind the felling of the tree, even though you say the axe is the direct agent, there is an indirect agent. And that indirect agent is invisible, sometimes overlooked, and this is what is the real agent, because the wielder of the axe is the one that is responsible, because there is volition, free will is there. The will to take up the axe is there, the will to slay the tree is there, all that is there. And then, same thing, then there is another very comforting example, food. Very nice. So, food, very comforting example and a very intimate example for people, because people eat every day. And so, what is the example? Prayah annam tripti hetuhu. So, what is the cause of contentment? Food is the cause of contentment. And you say, oh, annam brahmeti vyajanat, annam brahma, this, that, everything. And there is a lot of, what's its name? Songs about food. And in Rishikesh, when they are having this feeding of all the sadhus. There's hundreds of them, sometimes 100, sometimes 200. They all come, and in the open air, all the leaves, banana leaves and other leaves are put, and then they are made to sit, and then they are served food very reverentially, and a little dakshina is given to whoever is sponsoring this feast. So whatever they can afford, they give. And then, so when they start eating, the sadhus are not like, they're not like everyday people, day people. Everyday regular people, what do? They eat and they talk about the weather, they talk about themselves. That is the food. But the sadhus sit and sing. Yes, they just sing throughout their meal. And then I have myself heard in my time in Rishikesh, at least six or seven ode to food. So then they will praise. There is a song on the roti, and then there is a song on the puri, and then there is a song on the on that what is that called, laddu. Oh laddu, where have you been all my life? There is a song like that, and then there is a song on the what is that, that kheer, that rabdi, meaning the kind of a thickened milk, condensed milk, Indian version of the homemade condensed milk. So there is a song about that. And then so they keep singing from beginning to end. So one of them stops, the other one picks up. And so it's very, very nice to watch them eat. So here, even though they are lauding the laddu, even though they are singing the praises of the puri and the roti and all the dishes, those dishes did not manifest on their own. Yeah, those dishes, even though they are the cause of the tripti means contentment of the person, they did not manifest on their own. They did not come on their own. Did not, the roti did not drop from the sky. And the laddu did not, the laddu did not rain. It is not raining laddus. Thank God, otherwise there'll be too many diabetics, on the earth. Thank God it's not raining laddus. There is nothing sweeter than a laddu, in my opinion. It's a ball of calories, yes. So so it is a ball of calories which contributes to hypertension and what else? Blood sugar, rise in blood sugar and cholesterol at the same time. And so this is the laddu. So it's not raining laddus by itself. Somebody, so if you are in Rishikesh and you already know there is going to be a sadhu bhandara, sadhu feast. Why? Because in the morning when you wake up, you see the laddus being made, somebody sitting there and rolling them very nicely, expert way. You see the rabdi, the condensed milk being, put in a huge vat over an open fire right in the ashram, in the courtyard. And then you see the puris being fried. You see all the dishes being made. So there is a sentient person behind the tripti. So even though you attribute the contentment to the food, but then what about the cook? What about the cooks? What about the person who made it? And then that is one thing. And the second thing, again, you say the cause of contentment is the food. But if supposing when the whole dish was placed before me, and I sat like this without even opening my mouth, refusing to open my mouth, will the food give me contentment? No. I have to use my olfactory nerves to be first enthused about the food, to get excited about all the nice smells that are coming, and then I have to choose to break a piece of whatever it is, and then put it in my mouth, chew it, and swallow it properly. Then only it is the cause of contentment. Just food is not directly the cause of contentment. There is there is an agent there. In fact, here there are many agents which are pointed out, the hidden agent, because by the time the sadhus come, the big kadhai, the big frying pans and everything, they're all taken for washing. They don't see the signs of it much there, because the place is cleared to put all the banana leaves and make them sit there. And so therefore, but that doesn't mean that all that work has not gone into the production of the food. And then again, just because the food is produced cannot directly become the cause of contentment, because no matter how tasty, if I'm sitting in front of it and refusing to partake of it, then also it does not give me contentment. So that is the second example. And then, so praya annam tripti hetu, even though food is considered to be the cause of contentment, tadapi, still nigaditam karanam, the hidden karana, the cause is bhoktru yatnam. Bhoktru yatnam means the bhokta, on part of the eater, the effort that is put to open the mouth, to chew, to finish the plate, etc., etc. That is the cause of the contentment, not the food itself. Prachinam karma. These two lines we had done last time, but since just to refresh it, to refresh, I summed it up. Prachinam karma means the karma that is very ancient. What is the ancient karma? Prarabdha. Prarabdha, which comes from Sanchita, but here Prarabdha is talked about. That which began, it's so ancient that it has begun even before this body has begun. Prarabdham karma, prachinam karma, prachinam karma. So, what about it? Tad vishama samaphala prapti hetu. So the prarabdha is famous for what? For giving Vishama phala and Sama phala. Vishama phala means opposite effects. Opposite to what? What I want, of course. I want to do something, I want something, so I do something. And then what? I just get the opposite effect. I want to eat food in order to fulfill my hunger. And so then I eat the food, but then it goes down the wrong pipe. And then I end up in a coughing fit, barely not going to the emergency room. Okay. And so then it's very traumatic when that happens, because one is so shaken up and one is coughing incessantly. So what happened? All I wanted to do is eat the food. Prachinam karma. So the karma intervened. Karma said, that there is going to be a block. And then perhaps karma thought, let's see how the block should manifest right now for this person. What shall we block? Oh, wonderful. Let's block the windpipe. Not so much that the life is snuffed out, because they still have some years to live, but then not so easily either, so that they should really be a little jolted, because that's what. So let's block the windpipe, no problem. And then that's how the karma manifested. So that Vishama Phala Sama Prapti Hetu. This is how one would think, oh karma, why did you do this to me? Oh Prarabdha, get out of my sight. And in fact, even children, naughty children are called Prarabdha in South India. So, naughty children who keep jumping off of tables and breaking a leg, literally, and then who keep, doing all kinds of mischief, and they are the bane of the parents, because the parents they're just so out of control. And then very endearingly, the mother will say, oh, my prarabdha, what are you up to? Meaning, you are the manifestation of my karma. You're making me lose weight. You're making me run around. I don't know how to handle you. This is naturally you are karma. So even children are called karma. And so this is the obvious way. You blame the karma. You say, oh, where did this karma come from? Until yesterday, this karma was sleeping with a pacifier in its mouth, and today suddenly it got activated, and then suddenly it is bothering me. This is how one discusses karma. Karma is reified. Karma is personified, is anthropomorphized. There is some kind of a feeling like it is all in all, and it has a mind and it has a body, and this karma itself is coming out to get me. And then you go like this, no, 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 bad karma, stay away from me, stay away from me. And then there are all these other karmas, good karmas that you can do to propitiate the bad karma. So the karma is deified, reified, and then it is seen as a force in and of itself that is unleashing traumatic events at the level of the micro, that is the individual, and also at the level of the macro, that is the collective. So there is collective karma, like what? Earthquakes, Why these people? And how did these many people in this particular place on this particular day succumb, got injured, or died as a result of this earthquake? Why not somebody else? And here also there is so many quirks. Maybe there was a person, and we have seen such stories all over history. That person was supposed to be at the earthquake site. That building which collapsed, that person was supposed to be in that office building, but had a cold and decided to take the day off. Survived. But the other colleagues, etc., perished. And so, how did that happen? This again happened because of karma. So, like this, we extol or criticize karma as though it's a live, sentient being. And this notion is disabused in the life. So swatantram nashvare asmin hi khalu ghatate prerakah asya antaratma asya prerakah. Karma is inert. It is jada. Jadam karma. Karma is jada. Jada means it is not alive. What do you mean it is alive? How can it be alive? Karma is not alive. Karma is not a sentient being. How can it be a sentient being? It is just it is inert. So, but it's the effects. Yeah, but the effects are inert. How can they do this? The effects do not multiply on their own. There are at least two forces, but it's really ultimately one force. But on the empirical level, we can see that there are two hands that have to clap in order for the karma to happen. So the karma here means karma phala. So for the karma phala, let's say I performed a lot of good actions, either in the last life or this life, gave to charity, all these things I did. All right, then what? So then what happened as a result is that now I'm having some wonderful thing happen to me. I'm living a very comfortable life and I don't want or need for anything. How did this happen? You can say, oh, because of karma. Karma did not come flying out of somewhere. Just like the laddu and the roti did not rain from the sky. There is an agent behind it. And here there is a split agent, as it were. So the first agent is the local karta. Who is the karta? The jiva. So the jiva, the one who gave all these alms and gave the bhiksha and supported temples and ashrams, etc., when they need not have done that, and even though they still did that, and then because of that they got lot of punya and they are enjoying the punya. Would they have got the results of action if there was no action done? No. So action is always centered on a conscious being, and that conscious being engaged in the actions, and therefore that conscious being is there, very much in the results of action. So this is the first karta. But really speaking, what joins the agent with the results of action is another karta really. Another karta means the only karta that there is, which is Ishvara. So Ishvara recycles this karma, gift wraps it in certain ways, and then gives it a kind of a life, and then makes it come alive, makes it fructify. This is what it is. So this is something which is very, very beautiful to see, is that Ishvara is karma phala data. So you may do the karma, but then how do you accrue the results? There is a hidden variable, and that is Bhagavan. And that Bhagavan joins the jiva, the local agent, with the results of action. And so that is what is being pointed out here. So this Antaratma, the Ishvara, that is right now, being understood as the indweller of the body, mind, sense complex, is responsible, is the force behind the results of action, either locally as the agent of that has produced the action, or as Ishvara, the giver of the results. Why is this important to know? Because this is going against a very interesting Vedic time, ancient mata. Mata means darshana. Darshana means a kind of a theology. And so there is a rampant belief on part of certain people who are called Purva Mimamsakas. Purva Mimamsakas means those who only revel in and look to the first portion of the Veda for their direction, for their spiritual direction. And the first portion of the Veda deals with karma and karma phala. It also deals with Ishvara and Bhagavan, but they very conveniently ignore that, and they only focus on karma and karma phala, action and its results. And as a consequence, they reify and deify karma as though it was a sentient being. And this is refuted in the Brahma Sutras in chapter 3. I think the 28, so 3, 128 or something. I don't remember the citation. But then it is refuted because the Purva Mimamsaka is not interested in Ishvara, because the person is a karmaholic and a karma phalaholic, because they just are interested in action and action and result, nothing else. And so therefore, this is refuting those people who want to argue that this karma itself is the cause of everything in my life, because karma cannot produce anything directly. So it says swatantram nashvare asmin hi khalu. So if it was to act by itself, the results of action being finite would just collapse, would just disappear, would vanish. They would just vanish. They would not even be here. And so, swatantram nashvare asmin hi khalu ghatate. Prerakah asya. Prerakah means the one who impels the force behind the karma is Antaratma, Paramatma, Ishvara. So this is verse number 84. The next one is talking about the various karmas that are there enjoined by the first portion of the Veda in order to improve one's condition. So, how to improve one's lot is given, because there is obviously a result between what I do now and then how to overcome the difficult results of the past. But what is the connection? The connection is you as the doer of action. Because what is the past karma? It's called adrishya, adrishta. Adrishta means not available, not available to be seen, invisible, invisible. So the past actions, the actions are invisible, but not so much the results of action. I wish they were also invisible, but no. I feel them as back pain. I feel them as a stomach upset. I feel them as succumbing to various diseases, and living through this pandemic, etc. This is how one experiences the karma. One's own karma. It's not that the neighbor's karma has come to you. That's why it is infallible. That's why Ishvara is brought into the picture. And that is why, Bhagavan is there. Otherwise, it would just be some karma attacking you. No, here Bhagavan is there, and your own karma is being given back to you, gift wrapped. If you don't like the gift, it's not Bhagavan's fault. It's you. You had already ordered it online in the last life, and it was sent to you in this life, and you want to return it. And it's, many things you buy are non-returnable, even in America, where you can return even your firstborn child. So, here, within 3 days, you put it somewhere in a hospital, at the church, etc. You can return it. But here, in many places, you cannot do that. You are stuck with it, and karma is one such thing. You cannot really say, "Oh, I don't like it. I'm going to give it back." So it has got the label non-returnable on it. Here kya? What are you going to do as a result? Non-returnable karma. OMG. Really, is it non-returnable? Yes. But, there is a little, what is that? Elbow room. You can negotiate. So what can you negotiate? You can negotiate based on how karma is setup, how karma acts and how it is set up. So, what is the setup? As you sow, so shall you reap. That is the setup. You whatever, see, if you sow a pith of an orange, then you can't expect a mango tree. Orange tree only it will grow. So, this is exactly how it is. So, once the orange tree grows, you can't just sit and cry, I wanted mango tree. So, it's already done. But for the karma, there is a certain kind of an ameliorative karmas you can do, because the invisible results of the karma from previous lives that are attacking one right now can be forestalled as long as they are not coming into the visible realm. So, as long as they are not in the visible realm, they can be forestalled. Like you order something non-returnable, and then you say, oh no, I shouldn't have done this, maybe I don't want this, and you quickly call the company, and then you say, please cancel this order before it is shipped. Then they'll say, okay, okay, and cancel the order. Once it is shipped, they cannot do anything, it is non-returnable. So here also, you hope that the Adrishta is not yet shipped. Okay, it's not yet in priority mail or whichever mail it is coming by, and it's not yet in the mail. And so you can do something about this Adrishta because it is still with Bhagavan. So Bhagavan has got all kinds of packages. Which one will go out in the mail today? Sitting and thinking. And then immediately you send an application through a new karma. You send an application and say, cancel that order. I don't know what I was thinking, face palm moment. And I really don't know what I was thinking. Please cancel that order. Don't want it. Don't want it. But how do you know what you ordered? Because you ordered in the last life. And how do you know? You may know you don't want it, but how do you know what you ordered in the last life? That's why I said there is a loophole. And what is the loophole? You say you make a blanket prayer to Bhagavan, no matter what I ordered, cancel everything. And especially cancel those things that give pain, that give mental trauma, that give all kinds of afflictions, that make me afraid, that are a danger to my loved ones, and that make me make me remain without food, that make me remain without any recourse to anything. Cancel all that, Bhagavan. Please cancel all that. And then you leave it. It's Bhagavan's problem. Then they, Mahavishnu is scratching his head. Why are they so complicated? And Lakshmi says, does a goddess Lakshmi says, doesn't matter for you. It's very easy. Just see through your mind's eye and then give them some reprieve. Doesn't matter. Cancel those shipments. What's the big deal? Doesn't matter. So those shipments have to be cancelled. Which ones? The ones that are not yet shipped. Once they are shipped, you cannot do anything about it. You cannot refuse the package when it comes to the door. You cannot say, I don't want it. Well, the person says, I'm leaving it here because it has your name on it. And then what? It's got a bomb inside. Tick, 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 boom. It explodes. You can't do anything. You cannot refuse once it's delivered. So then your only time window is before the adrishta becomes drishta, visible. So how do you write this application? Which address to send it? Vishnu@vaikunt.org. That is the address. So, which address to send it, and how to do this? It's all very sophisticatedly put in this first portion of the Veda, where you can intercept the karma before it manifests, before it fructifies, through a series of elaborate prayers, wonderful prayers. And those prayers are all there in the Vedas. And the prayers are like a vaccine. It inoculates you against that adrishta. The prayers are also, giving two kinds of results. That's what we forget. Prayers are karma. Every karma has a result. Prayer also has results. And the results are twofold. One is drishtaphalam. Drishtaphalam means the visible result is immediately saying, I feel better now. I have done something about this wretched thing. I feel much better. And then the invisible result is that which goes to Bhagavan. That is your application in invisible ink, only to be, fructified later. So you keep the application with Bhagavan in invisible ink, and then that is the invisible ink. Your own effort in invoking Bhagavan becomes the adrishta. So becomes the new adrishta that meets mid-air, the old adrishta, and cancels it like like two missiles meeting in the air and canceling each other out. It's just so fascinating, so sophisticated. It's just really wonderful. So it's just like the vaccine. You take the vaccine, and it may not, sometimes it may not stop the adrishta completely. Yeah, one may still, unfortunately, one may still, even after taking the vaccine, succumb to the virus. But it will save one from hospitalizations. It will save from losing the life and all these things, or having long-term complications. All these things. So that is why. And then one time vaccine is not enough. You have to keep taking the second one, third one, fourth one, booster, booster, booster. So here also, Adrishta keeps needing boosters because you don't know what all is there. What all mutations of karma are waiting for you. Karma phala, you don't know. And so many things. Now what we are on B4, A5, something like that, all these different Omicron variations. And because it starts with Om, it is here to stay, and it is it is very much there. And so now there is a new, what is that called, booster, targeting this fourth and fifth generations of this Omicron like this. So the prayers also have to be constantly kept going. The fire the fire rituals have to be kept going. The prayer has to be kept going. Everything has to be kept going, 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 going. This is what it is. Very, very strange. And then, so the prayer has to be kept going. Then how to keep this going? That's what one becomes. First, one prays in order to ward off the karma, but then there is a subtle inner growth that happens. One starts to become prayerful. One is praying all the time, so one becomes prayerful in the sense that it's not just an action in order to gain some invisible result or stop some other invisible result from manifesting, but it is a very different thing here. What is it? That prayer is becomes a way of life. It becomes the attitude with which all actions are performed rather than a particular action in order to get a particular result. So that is the idea. Why this adrishta, why these karmas are there lurking, 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 and waiting to be fructified and making the jiva, terrorizing the jiva, making the jiva full of fear. Because this really becomes a impetus for inner growth. To grow from a person who prays to a person who is a prayerful person. And so, for this reason, five karmas are enjoyed. Five kinds of karmas are enjoyed. We have seen them in other contexts, but so that just a quick review will not hurt if somebody has forgotten them or doesn't know what we are talking about. So, the first kind of karma is those karmas that have to be done daily, like tending to the altar, tending to one's own body, and cooking, cleaning. All these things have to be done daily. Nitya karma. And then, along with the day, included in the daily karmas are are various forms of giving to Bhagavan, giving to less fortunate people among in your own society and community, giving to animals, giving to the devas, giving to the rishis, giving to the ancestors. All this pancha mahayajna, it is called. Five types of giving is embodied in the nitya karma. All this is nitya karma. Then we have occasional karma like birthdays or death anniversaries that are celebrated. They don't come every day. Then it wouldn't be special. If every day you had a birthday, then it wouldn't be special at all. And besides, how are you going to digest all that 365 pieces of cake? Not possible. And so therefore, this is so therefore what? So it comes once a year, so that it is special. And then even once a year, people cannot handle the birthdays after, after a certain age. After a certain age, you say, no, 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 I want to run away. I don't like this. Oh, no, it has come. And I feel weaker already. I'm over the hill. All these things, all these, the society is ripe with all these thoughts which are fed into the brain just by living amongst other people. And even the greeting cards don't help. Greeting cards can be very cruel. Birthday greeting cards. They will just say, "Oh, now that you are over the hill, happy birthday." Things like this they will say. Some of them are really, really cruel, and so they also don't help. So the birthday, that's why it comes once a year. So because then you can be done and over with it and not think about it, and then so this is all comes under naimittika or occasional karma. Then there are karmas which are not enjoined at all, and but you still do them. Are you crazy? Am I crazy? Why would I do karmas that are not enjoined or by the Vedas? Because if I keep doing the karmas enjoined by the Vedas, I still don't have any free time. By the time I finish giving to all these five different varieties of entities, I don't have any time at all. So, but why would I still put on the list my own kinds of karmas that I want to do? Oh, well, because there's a whole gamut of desires. Therefore, enter kamya karma, karmas that you want to do to fulfill some kind of a deep desire. So you unleash a whole lot of karmas in addition to the ones that are enjoyed. In addition to nitya and naimittika, you have kamya karmas number three. Kamya karmas number three, and then number four is this thing nishiddha karma. Things you must never do. That's also there in the list of karmas. Karmas that must never be done. Himsa, injury, violence, and what else? Cheating, defrauding, all these things, stealing. All these are karmas which come under prohibitory actions. Because of dharma, you should never indulge in them. But then it's easier said than done. Indulge in them we will and we have. So what to do? There is prayashchitta karma, something to ameliorate wrongdoings and gain some respite from the karma. What is that called? Prayashchitta means atonement karma. Atonement karma. And the atonement karma is not like the other one, where before the karma is fructified, you do this. It's a little bit like that, but it's also as it is fructifying, you say, "Oh no, God only knows what all I have done. Please reduce this. Please help this. I am truly sorry for doing this." So both those things are there, and then yeah, so if the prarabdha is not very strong, there will be some amelioration in the effects. So these are the five kinds of karmas given to humankind by the Vedas. And then the point, the verse is going to discuss them. We have already discussed them, so we are ahead. And then the verse is going to discuss them. And the verse is also, the whole point of this verse is that it says that even though you propitiate certain devatas, Rudra, come here, and this offering, Rudraya idam, this offering is for you, oh Rudra, not for me. Oh, no, 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 Rudra, forget Rudra. I want to propitiate the goddess because the goddess is the one that I love. And so for me, everything is because of the goddess. And so, oh goddess, help me reduce these karmas. Or somebody else says, no, 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 none of these work. My favorite is Ganesha. Ganesha is my favorite. And without Ganesha, I cannot live. And I have to have Ganesha. It's very comforting. Even to give a hug, it's very nice because nice and fat, so that's kind of nice. Like it's like hugging a cushion or a teddy bear. It's so nice. Whereas if you go and try to hug Mother Durga with her 20 arms and 20 weapons, that's a little dangerous. You have to kind of do an artificial hug. You can't really fully hug. But Ganesha is very beloved. Somebody sent me a video of what is that? Just now we had the birthday of Ganesha celebrated not too long ago, beginning of at the end of last month. And so somebody sent me this video, and that had all these children, because they bring the Ganesha home. They keep it for 1 or 2 or 3 or 7 days, and then they take it to a river and it's immersed. This is called Visarjana. You sending Ganesha, bidding goodbye, and then and then saying come back next year. This is very very big in India, especially in Maharashtra. It's huge festival. And then the so here in this video, all kinds of children from the ages of 2 to 6, they are all heartbroken because Ganesha is leaving, and they hug this Ganesha, and they just don't want to let it go. They just do not want to let it go. They are sobbing and crying, and the parents are trying to wrest the Ganesha from them. It was very very cute, very sweet. And the oldest one, I think she's about 6 or 7. She says, okay, I'll say bye. And the mother says, say bye bye to Ganesha. She says, Tata, bye bye. And then as they're about to lift, she grabs it and hugs it. And so like this, so there are various forms that to which one gets attached and to which one prays and everything. And this verse is a very important reminder that even though there are various forms of these deities, the prayer is actually going to Bhagavan, Paramatma, Ishvara. Ishvara, who is Ganesha, but Ganesha by himself, so Ishvara is in the form of Ganesha, Ishvara is in the form of all these things. But none of, Ishvara is none of them at any given time. That which transcends all the various local cause and effect deities, and all these various ways in which the deities are invoked, it is Ishvara behind all of them. So Ganesha is Ishvara, and Ishvara is much more than Ganesha. Like this, we have to, Ganesha may be going for a dip in the river, but Ishvara does not does not become liquid in the river ever. That is the idea, because that Ishvara is you, that conscious being who is all powerful, etc. So this is what we have to remind ourselves. This is the message of verse 85. So let us read that. Smritya lokeshu varnashrama vihitamado nityakarmadhikarma nityakamyadhikarma sarvam brahmarpanam syaditi nigamagirah sangirante tiramyam येन यन्नासनेत्रजिह्वा करचरणशिरश्रोत्र सन्तर्पणेन तुष्येदङ्गीव साक्षात् तरुरिव सकलो मूलसन्तर्पणेन. Also, it ends with an example. We'll see this. So, smritya. Smritya means through the smritis. Smritis are many in number. Smriti means secondary works that are written faithfully, that reproduce the message of the Vedas. So there is Yagyavalkya Smriti, very famous. So like that, there are many, many Smritis and Dharma Shastras which talk about how to lead the life in the everyday, what to do, what one must not do, all these things, which are of course taken from the Veda alone. So Smritya, through the Smriti, Lokeshu, in the world through the Smriti, Varnashrama Vihitam Adaha. So Varnashrama Vihitam means enjoined for the various Varnas, stages, the hierarchies or the divisions in life, various ashramas, stages in life. So there are certain things that one has to do, like for example, the kamya karmas, the things that you really want and you are going to reproduce through various yajnas. There are certain conditions, because if you get the results of the karma at age 80, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to enjoy it? And in some cases it's responsible, like putra kameshti. Putra kameshti yajna means I want a child badly. I really, really want to have a child. Says who? The 72-year-old. And, and then proceeds to proceeds to do a yajna, ishti, called Putrakama Ishti, meaning I will do a yajna in order to have a child because I have been childless and I really, really want a child. So then what happens, so then you start, you start making preparations for this very elaborate homa, and then you make this thing, and then you read the fine print. Krishna Keshaha Yajeta, meaning only the ones with dark hair, meaning the color must not have changed. No, not a single gray hair must be there if you want to raise a child. Oh, that's easy. You can paint it nowadays. No problem. I can do that. No, originally. Yes, you can cover the gray, but you cannot cover up the fact that you have covered the gray. Okay, so so this is the idea. So at 72, if you have a child, then how are you going to take care of it? You are already, the child wants to play, and you say, no, beta, you play by yourself. I'm having all kinds of aches and pains. In fact, take care of me. Make me some tea. you know, Bring me the food. Oh, mama, I don't know how to cook. Doesn't matter, learn. Do something. I'll teach you how to cook. I'll sit here, lie down here, and do how to cook. Oh, mommy, check my daddy, check my homework. No, beta, I'm tired. I'm taking a nap. So this is not going to work. It's so irresponsible. And then why am I stuck at the age 72? Because in India, 2 years ago, a 72-year-old woman and her 80-year-old husband had a child. It was there all over the news. And not a child, I think twins. Oh no, I don't know how, but I don't know what. And then so she really wanted a child and she prayed and everything. And then she gave some interviews and she was in such dire straits. She had to be hospitalized. Towards the last period of the pregnancy, the last, what is it called? Trimester. The last trimester, she was completely in hospital. High blood pressure, all kinds of things, everything. And so, with great difficulty, they saved her and saved the children. And then she has lived to tell the tale. But then I really don't know what will be the fate of these children. And so, like this, the Veda makes sure that age appropriate desires are indulged. And it's also therefore there are every yajna comes with a fine print of who can do this. And so Krishna Kesha Yajeta. And then so only if you have this. And then in another yajna it says, if you have a lot of money in the bank, then only you can do this. You cannot do this if you don't have money in the bank. Why? Because it's a very expensive yajna. And so, like this, the Veda makes sure that at every stage of life, you are only exposed to those kinds of desires for which you have the bodily equipment to enjoy. Otherwise, it's not worth it. So, and the Veda knows that you will not listen and you will still want to bear children at 72. And so the Veda itself, as far as possible, so leaving a few exceptions aside, and the Veda makes sure that these things do not happen. And so it is ashrama appropriate. It is varna appropriate. Varna means a certain, it's one must not think of the so-called caste system. The only thing we have to do with the caste system is cast it out. That's all you have to do. So this caste system is very, it has outlived it's completely outlived its time. It is no longer needed. But in the early time before before it became patriarchal and corrupted, it had a particular purpose that was meant for that particular time. It was so that everybody could focus on spiritual emancipation, moksha, and emotional growth. Why? Because you don't have to look for your job. It was already there for you. You simply followed what your father and mother did, and so you had a lot of free time. Your living was already assured. You had a place in society, your living was assured. So you could focus on moksha. In the ancient times, it was not that there was no lateral moves between one, varna and another. It was definitely there. We see examples. Dronacharya, who was a Brahmana by birth, all he should have been doing is begging for his food and teaching and studying the Veda. That's all he should have been doing. But you see, he switched over to become a Kshatriya. He switched over to become a Kshatriya because that's where he wanted that's what he wanted to do. And similarly, in the South Indian temples, even today, we worship these rishis called Nayanmars. 60 of them they are. And then they all came from very, what is that called, economically, and also the hierarchy wise lower rungs of the society. But then, because of their life and because of their exemplary way of dealing with themselves and others, and because of their erudition and knowledge, because they studied the Veda, they got moksha in their life, they are worshipped alongside the main deities of the temple. So it was not that it was based on birth and it was no lateral moves. No, not like that. Then later on it became hardened. But in the beginning, it was just a loose arrangement, a systemic arrangement where one could focus on oneself, so that one doesn't have to be in the rat race of trying to find a job and attend interviews and cutthroat competition. All that was not there because it was a zero competition society. Ancient India was a zero competition society, but then soon the system became very corrupted and it should have been done with a long time ago. So that is the Varna system. And then ashrama means there is the student life, then there is the married life, householder life, and then there is the kind of dropping off some of the responsibilities and a contemplative life in the forest as a forest dweller, or somebody who is maybe living in the house but it doesn't interfere with the trying to run it at all. In the modern days we can do that, we can think of it like that. So then we have the forest dweller, and then finally what do we have? Sannyasi, and then the person who has given up everything for the sake of abiding in the teachings and in the knowledge. So this is these are what are called the ashrama. So varnashrama vihitaha. So varna appropriate, ashrama appropriate, nitya kamyadi karma. So all these nitya karmas and kamya karmas are enjoined by the Vedas. Then what is Sarvam Brahmarpanam Syat Nigama Giraha. But according to the Veda, very nice word. Nigama means Veda, Giraha means words. According to the words of the Veda, so Nigama Giraha Sangirante. So the words of the Vedas sing, and they say, what do they say? Beautiful things. Atiramyam Sangirante. And they sing of a beautiful message. The Vedas proclaim a really beautiful message. What is that? Sarvam Brahmarpadam Syat. No matter which deity you are invoking, no matter which karma you are doing, at what station in life, at what age, it all goes to Ishvara Brahman. No matter who is the recipient of the invocation. And then, so there are two examples given to assimilate this. Yat nasa netra jihva karacharana shira shrotra santarpanena. So, when you satisfy the nostrils by exposing them to the smell of frying pakoras, who is satisfied? You, not the nostrils. You say aha. The nostril doesn't say aha. Okay. And then that is nasa. Then netra. When the eyes spy upon a wonderful, beautiful scenery. The eyes don't say ha, you say wah wah, ha, how nice. And then, same way, jihwa. Jihwa means tongue. When the tongue is satisfied with that wonderful, whatever dish you are wanting badly, and then you finally got it. When the tongue is satisfied, then what? The tongue doesn't lash out and wag like a happy dog. You dance from side to side and say, ah ha ha, that was the best meal ever. You nod and you dance. And then Kara Charana Shrita Shrotra. So Kara, hands, Charana, feet. So hands and feet, what example can you give? In the winter, they get very dry. So you get some cream and you put it on, and the skin feels very good, but the skin doesn't say, I feel very good. Skin is thick skinned, it cannot even talk. And so you say, I feel very good. And because I have nicely oiled or moisturized the hands and the feet. And then what? Naracharana Shiraha. Shiraha means what? Head. Yeah, same thing with the head. So you can do nice things to the head. You can do a nice, in India, if you go, you can go for a haircut, especially for men. But they give you a free head massage called champi, from which I believe the word shampoo has come. So they crack your neck and this way and that way, and then they give you a free chiropractic adjustment, and then they just nicely drum on the head, and then but the head doesn't feel good. You are ahead of the head. You feel good, and then Shira Shrotra, same thing. If you are a teenager and if you listen to heavy metal music, you feel good. The ears, the ears beg to differ, and the ears say, stop, stop. But you are feeling good. So you continue to listen. Okay. And so this is way. So Shotra Santarpanena. Santarpa means by satisfying all of them. Tushyed Angi Iva. So Angi Iva Tushyed. So the person, the indweller, is alone satisfied through the satisfaction of all those jnanendriyas and karmendriyas. The individual is the one that is satisfied. Similarly, sakshat taruhu iva sakalaha moola santarpanena. Likewise, you put some water at the foot of the tree, but the whole tree says, aha, and is looking greener and fresher. That is the idea. More we'll see next week. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.